Viewer discretion is advised. Joining me today from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and unfortunately under not as unique circumstances or not as pleasant circumstances, we have the player representative for players from the National Gridiron League, David Drakeford. David, welcome into the show. I understand, and I've been following this story about the National Gridiron League as we're recording here, that it's not a pleasant situation. And real quick to lead into this, I have been trying to follow this story on the league itself since 2019 when it first tried to launch. To get into this, though, first off, how are you holding up, and what is the current status of the players from this league? Because last we have heard, leading into this podcast, there are some that I understand are still stranded in Fort Wayne. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. As far as me holding up, you hit the nail on the head. I'm one of the player reps, but the second player rep has come out and told all media platforms that want to talk to us. I'm the one that's speaking right now. He's working behind the scenes, okay. But as far as me, my mental is getting better. But as far as physically, just making sure my players are compensated, I'm exhausted. I'm running like on E. I'm just trying to get everything done as quickly as possible for my players to be compensated. Yes, to answer the second part of that question, yes, we still have players sporadically around the city. Earlier, it was brought to my attention that 2 of our players were actually sent home. Finally, via their planes were actually booked back to Las Vegas. So we still have players that are up there currently. And we're trying to get them home to their families, get them back to their well-being, their peace of mind as quickly as possible. Because this is an unforeseen circumstance that has been going on for years, but especially with this season that was supposed to happen, we're now bringing it to light, and we're trying to, not only myself, but my other player representative, we're speaking for our players. And I was using the hashtag, "We will not be silenced, I will not be silenced," because it's crazy how everything's going on with this.
Yeah, everything. It's been nuts since I've been following it. And for those that are first tuning in for the show, or if you've been following me since I've started doing podcasting, I've been trying to understand the National Gridiron League on how it runs. I've been trying to get president and founder Joe McClendon on the show, which that didn't end up so well. And it's kind of led to a head. The National Gridiron League has been trying to get a season started since 2019. 2019 season was originally canceled. 2020 was canceled based on COVID circumstances. However, both those seasons have had suspicious intentions laid with them. For those that also know, I've been in contacts. Evansville was supposed to have a team, and that never happened in Evansville, Indiana. The Evansville Courier and Press will tell you that there were very unfortunate and sad circumstances with players being left out stranded in a similar sense here in Fort Wayne. And I want to dive into this. So let's get the timeline out here for people, because as of the last few days, it's been kind of sporadic with I think some people trying to finally get in on this story that's been consistently going on,
Right. And people that are jumping in later just thinking like this just happened. No. I signed my contract with the NGL a day or so after Valentine's Day. And so we were supposed to report. At first it may or may not be a bubble. And if it wasn't a bubble, we were going to go to our respective cities, training camp, and then play. But as it was decided within a few weeks of that, it was March 17th was the first report date. We were going to report to Fort Wayne and shack up in hotels. At one hotel, it was supposed to be 3 different hotels and for training camp for all the teams. And then once camp broke and final cuts were made, we were going to stay at one specific hotel. That timeline was pushed back to April 7th, and camp was supposed to open April 10th, which was last Saturday. Players started going up there as early as last Monday, as early as Monday last week. I know I have a few teammates that were up there, hell, as early as last Sunday, if not Monday night, going into Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
I was still working. Thank God I actually got my job back today. I had to go up in there and actually beg them, show proof of the situation. So I'll actually be back tomorrow myself. But I didn't report till Thursday morning. Thursday, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time, out in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We were supposed to report at 2 to check in. There was a red flag right there because the list didn't get sent over to the hotel that we were at, which was the Grand Marriott downtown. And before we even dive into this even anymore, I've been saying this to any news outlet, any media outlet I've been doing interviews with. The city of Fort Wayne showed all those players up there nothing but love, nothing but hospitality, nothing but respect. They didn't know about it. And as the situation developed, I want to apologize from the players' standpoint to Mr. Tom Henry himself, as well as the director, I forgot his name, of Visit Fort Wayne and city officials. And I want them to understand that the incident, we're going to get into that incident that happened last Saturday at the Glenbrook Mall. That was not our calling as players. That was not our due diligence. That was not our saying for our okay on that. So I just want to clarify that. I definitely have been saying that all day. So hopefully anybody that does watch this podcast, this episode, when it does drop, I want them to understand that as players, we had no input on that call for last Saturday. And that anybody from Fort Wayne, Indiana, we appreciate your hospitality up there. Appreciate the way you guys treated us while we were up there. Though it was very short and very sporadic, the reason why we're up there. Had the season gone on in the bubble up there, had everything been done, we have nothing but love for you guys. I will end up coming to visit myself eventually, probably in the next few months, just to even show face and say thank you. But back to the timeline. I reported at 11:45 April 8th. All of us players, we weren't able to get into our rooms till at the Grand Marriott downtown until 6:45 because of the fact that paperwork from the league office wasn't sent over there for the team, for players that were coming over there. Joe, yes, that was a minor red flag. Joe was in and out all day working the phones. We seen him. I saw him multiple times that day. Certain teams were actually in their rooms already. But the thing about it was that my team, which is the Virginia Iron Horse, the Indiana Blue Bombers, and the Arkansas Twisters were the three teams that were up there that had more than 15 to 17 people up there for training camp. The Virginia Iron Horse, which is my team, actually had our entire coaching staff up there as well throughout this whole thing. Come to find out eventually that Joe did tell certain teams that were supposed to report, don't send any of your team up there till either yesterday or today, as far as the report, right? And you see how I could kind of draw a red flag if camp was supposed to open up on the 10th.
Right. Yeah, so I was going to say, I've seen some of the reports that it was limited amount of teams, which, again, curiosity makes you scratch your head a little bit,
Right.
is how I see it. And so you have a limited amount of teams there. You report in on Thursday. Friday, how's Friday go? And then we'll get into the events that lead into the Glenbrook Mall protest, because
right.
I'm curious how this led up to this point from at least the events I'm told and from what you have being there.
Right. So Friday was per se the roller coaster, if that makes any sense. Okay. That was like climbing the mountaintop before everything broke loose. Friday morning we wake up. I woke up early. It was a calm, cool, nice little day, outside, and then, excuse my language, shit hits the fan around 3:30. We get knocks on doors from management saying that the bill wasn't paid and that we had to clear out by 4:30, and that the car didn't go through. And so Friday evening, we try to figure out what's really going on. Players had to come out of pocket. I know I came out of pocket. As far as me, I lost probably $140 just based off of paying, the fee to stay, which was $75 plus another, $50 to $90 on top of the car to protect themselves just in case if there's any damage in the room.
Right, right.
So that was what was going on. I know some of us players went out Friday night because we thought it could have been a fraud situation. On top of that, too, we'll get into more of this breaking news that I was even told today, but we actually ate at Golden Corral under the assumption, and I'll explain more as after I make the statement. Joe told us Thursday that when we reported that, hey, Golden Corral has a sponsorship deal with him where we didn't have to pay a single dime. We just went in there for lunch and dinner. We show him a card, and we were able to just eat for free, so to speak. Unfortunately, we didn't receive our cards to go eat on Friday. So,
really?
And just adding to that, I was on an interview with Wayne 15 earlier today, and I got a text from another reporter from the station of Wayne 15 asking, did we have to pay? Did we have to pay? And I said, what? And she explained it saying that Golden Corral actually has a bill. I don't know what the estimated total is, but yes, that has a bill stating like how many charges that we have that basically sent to makes it seem like we dined and dashed for multiple days. But as players, if you look in our contracts, it was stated that in our contracts that housing and food would be paid for. So we were under the assumption that Joe had already worked out a deal with Golden Corral, and he told us he did that they were taking care of lunch and dinner, and for breakfast we just had to fend for ourselves. So Friday night I went out, but also as I was getting ready, I believe Joe's car was actually outside at around 10:30 that night. I went out around with teammates and a group of us around 10:45, but I believe around 11:30. Indiana Blue Bombers coach, I forgot his name, so I apologize for that, but it's actually one of the articles. The Indiana team that was actually up there confronted Joe. I actually have the piece of paper that he signed. And they were on a conference call with their coach and Joe there, as well as the manager, the night shift manager that was there. The night shift manager signed a piece of paper. Joe signed it as well, stating that he would reimburse all NGL players for paying out of pocket for the hotel fees for those days. And he had 30 days to pay that off from that time frame. And so that was April 9th. Wow. So yeah,
that sounds like the beginning of the roller coaster, because then we go into April 10th.
Right.
Which really hit at least local news wires out in Fort Wayne and started hitting on our scale here on Twitter for the alt football scene. My understanding of the events, at least, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you guys were called for a meeting to address the issue with the hotels, which then led into somehow protesting the city of Fort Wayne. Is that right? Or am I misconstruing that?
You actually hit the nail on the head, and I'm actually going to go into full-blown detail about that if I can.
Please do. If you're allowed to, go right ahead.
Okay, so I actually am able to. So right now, you really have a full-blown exclusive. Wayne 15 and Dylan have had full-blown exclusives for this story. So I get a text from my head coach because I'm the only quarterback that's in my camp because other players have dropped off. He sent me a text and sent it out to our team. Hey, we're meeting at BJ's Brew House at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a red flag right there. Why are we meeting at BJ's if BJ's not even a sponsor?
Right.
And we're going to discuss what's been going on. So we pack our bags. We go over there. It's still uncertain because we don't know what we're doing when we get back. A lot of us players, we checked out of the hotel when we got back from this debacle. We get over there. We meet at BJ's. We go across to Glenbrook Squares Mall, but we're actually in the parking lot. Joe's addressing us. Joe is saying that, unfortunately, the way he made it seem was in these days is that that the mayor wasn't holding up his end of the deal, and that the city of Fort Wayne wasn't holding up their end of the deal as far as payment on the hotels, and that the way he said it was, he said, we're going to go up in here and we're going to talk to people. That's exactly what he said. He said that we're going to go show our face and go talk to people. So obviously when you're thinking of the word talking to people, that means we're going store to store and suggesting like, hey, can you call the mayor? because we didn't at first, like I said, we were all blindsided by this.
Mm-hmm.
We thought just the mayor knew we were coming, in that the mayor knew we were coming as far as, but it was just the way it was worded to us was like the mayor's not helping out.
Right,
and
right. It seems like you guys that the city didn't hold up its end of the bargain.
Right. And so it's the fact that the way he worded it was we were going to go talk to people. Last time I checked, when you say we're going to go talk to people, we're going to go store to store. So middle of the way walking in, he's like, we're just going to meet in the food court. Now, when you say meet in the food court and talking to people, I'm thinking like, hey, we're just going to sit here. The food court has everybody. So obviously I'm thinking we're going to go face over here, talk to people, split off in groups and go talk to stores. We get to the food court. He said, we're going to start chanting. Now, here's where I drew the line. Here's where I went from being a player in the NGL to being a person that just, excuse my language, there's going to be a lot of cursing in this interview, a lot of emotion. So I apologize to any of the viewers, but here's where I dropped my fucking nuts, so to speak. I told Joe, I said, Joe, shut the fuck up. I said, this is the wrong way to go about it. And I said, we need to go about this the right way. Why the fuck are we chanting like we're in high school? And so as we're walking into the mall, I told a couple of my teammates, I said, this seems like we're on a fucking field trip like we're in high school. We're pro athletes at this point, And
right.
and we get down there, Joe's like, we're gonna chant, We said I told Joe, I said, Joe, shut the fuck up. This is the wrong way to do. I said, let's split off into groups and let's go about it the right way because we're in the middle of nowhere. You brought us up here. We don't know. I don't know left from my right up here. If I get lost in the city, I got to GPS it. I don't know the people up here. So you go about it the right way. I said, that's not the way to go about it, Joe. And everybody's looking at me like he does have a point. And so everybody just kind of just let me do the talking, so to speak, because I was really, I was really one of the only ones, and everybody was pressing him, but Joe wasn't listening. Joe showed nobody respect. Joe walked around with his chest puffed out with everybody else, but with me, he piped down real quick because he knew I was about my business. So I said, Joe, say that chant. I'm not saying that chant. I said, y'all, I'm not saying this chant because I said the security guards are going to come. So out of nowhere, boom, I said, I'm going to call in 5 seconds. I told 2 of my linemen, I said, I'm not doing this. They said, when you leave, we're moving with you. I said, okay. I said, watch in 10 seconds what happens. Next thing you know is we say the chant goes, I forgot it's my head so spinning so much lately. I forgot what the chant was, but it was involving Tom Henry. It said, Henry, keep your word. That's what it was. Mm. So as that's saying, I'm looking around. I'm ex-military. I know in a foreign place, you got to look for all exit points and see who's coming. People started having out their phones. I see yellow. I said, oh, that's security. I put the middle finger and the peace sign up like I'm out. 2 of my offensive linemen fled with me, and we got out of there. The thing about it was the way Joe was talking was he wasn't scared of security, let alone the Fort Wayne Police Department. When the security called Fort Wayne Police Department, damn near, I say about 50 to 75% of the police department was outside. I can count that there was probably about 18 cop cars out there. And talking to a police official, had one of my teammates, and I'm at this point, I don't know what's going on because the teammate in question, teammate that I'm bringing up, he went to get his phone fixed, but he's also a teammate of color. A lot of us are of minority descent. Joe is minority descent. So seeing a white cop in these times, I'm stopping like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? Like, why are you walking with him? His phone wasn't working. So I'm thinking like, damn, somebody, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, what's really going on? And so when I talked to the cop was like, the security guards don't know. We don't know. They're not going to stop him. So when I go outside, Joe's walking away. Joe ended up calling the news station up there to the mall and said, follow us to Golden Corral. Yes. So that's how Wayne 15 got word about this, is that Joe was the first one to make contact.
They got through Joe? That's amazing in itself to think how this has ended up.
Right. So Joe was the one that called because Joe was like, I'm trying to bring attention to this. But as players, we took that over and we spun it the way it should have been spun in the first place. Now sitting back, We spun it the right way. Joe was trying to spin it the wrong way. So we left. We went to Golden Corral. We're eating. I had a few autograph sessions as well as a few other players. We're taking pictures. We're telling everybody, here's what's going on. Like, hey, do you mind sharing this out to tell Henry to, like, keep his word? That's what we're being told. My team, we decided that our head coach was like, you know what, this is getting too expensive for us. We're going to relocate to a different hotel, the Spring Hill Suites off of New Vision Drive. Shout out Lita, who's actually the general manager over there. She actually runs the front. We were able to come up with a deal with her where we were able to spend X amount of dollars. And my team, as long as we paid it, which we did, we paid for multiple nights, we were able to stay there till this situation. With that being said, we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. My head coach, honestly, between my coaching staff, I'd estimate, I didn't ask them a specific number because I haven't checked with them because I'm letting them keep their cooler heads right now until I can see what's really going on. And I'm trying to make sure all the players are gone. I believe my head coach and my coaching staff, for us players as well as our coaches, probably claim out close to $3,000 out their pocket, just to help us out. And not even that. Joe said they were supposed to get paid day 2 they got up there, or the first night they got up there. My coaches were never paid while they were up there.
Wow. That is even more shocking to realize. It's just a lot of, I just hate hearing this. You know, that's the shame of this entire event. You know, you guys are trying to be professionals about this too, and it's endless confusion at this point. And now we're, as we're talking with the timeline, we're kind of in the final stretch of what was the events that at least have been reported in articles up to this point.
And once again, for everybody that's listening to this, there's going to be more and more that's coming out.
Yes.
I can't really per se. There's about to be 2 big bombshells. Obviously, Zach, you've been watching my Twitter feed all day. You see that I've posted snippets of what the still is. I haven't been able to fully post the entire video because obviously the file's too large. So when I'm able to get to a computer and actually post it, that's the big bombshell. And we'll get into the other big bombshell that you obviously know about and we're going to discuss as well. But that was on Saturday. Saturday night, I didn't go out. Saturday night, I stayed in bed. I was frustrated, trying to figure out what's really going on. But go ahead, and I'll let you lead this as well. So,
sure. I am curious here because we have about a day and a half gap after the events of Saturday at the Glenbrook Mall. Sunday, I'm not completely clear what happens. I understand that that coming Monday, you have the players meeting, which now has the pretty spread around video of players fighting the league's own president.
Did you see the video? Did you see the video that happened Sunday night? If you go to my Twitter feed, there's a video on there that I posted that said how the NGL started versus how the
okay. I was trying to get clarification on that. That would explain it. Okay.
That was Sunday night. So I'm gonna get into that. So everybody's probably been wondering. I know everybody out there is now kind of catching on, like, oh, there's only the video of Joe getting fought. No, there's a video in there of Joe getting pressed at the hotel, getting questioned. The person in question is this face right here, is me. As you can tell, I don't have my Yankees cap with me, but that is me in that video. That is me in the video on there. I had a teammate that ended up recording that. But let's rewind to Sunday morning. Sunday morning, we wake up. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. We see on the news what Joe posted yesterday. We're all heated at this point. I get a little bit of a workout in Saturday as well as Sunday morning. And we go to Golden Corral. Mm-hmm. I was pissed off at the point because it's like, Joe, you really got us out here for what reason? We're supposed to be in camp at this point. We're supposed to be in Solon. We're supposed to take physicals. Okay, cool. So then I see Joe at Golden Corral. I told my head coach even before then, I said, if we do get this league up and started, I said, as the player rep for my team, because everybody's looking at me, I said, we've all come to an agreement. We will not speak to Joe pregame, postgame, any type of way because of this whole situation.
Right.
Like, you brought us out to the middle of nowhere and you don't have anything in concrete motion to what's going on. Joe definitely did show up to Golden Corral on Sunday, and I had to be escorted out by my 2 offensive linemen because I really wanted to fight him at that point. It was like, right. I was talking. I was in the banquet room. I got real quiet. I said, there goes Joe. He's trying to come around, smile. He's in a $50 hat, $500, like probably $200 or $300 shirt and $500 pairs of shoes. And he's smiling and thinking everything's sweet. But on the inside, bro, we're out here struggling. We're down to damn near our last. So, what was it? Sunday night hits. Team's like, bro, what are we going to do? I'm like, we just got to stay confident, just hope that Monday goes right.
Sure.
So we leave, we go hang out. I think I left and went to go somewhere, and I seen Joe's Impala in the parking lot at my hotel. I'm like, do y'all, like, I called Coach. I said, Coach, hey, Joe's Impala's in the parking lot. He's like, I know. He's like, he's on bullshit right now. And that's basically what we got. Like, he's out here lying. So, okay, cool. So I'll go upstairs real quick. We're like, let's go out. We go out Sunday night. So as I'm getting prepared, I get an anonymous tip. There's no meeting set up. So I get a call from another player that's the other player rep in the league. And that's how I got connected with Josh Davis. Josh and I talked briefly via Twitter. And I told him one of my first things was that I don't want any of my words misconstrued. Let's talk on the phone so you can hear everybody's story. So I'm sitting around getting ready, this, that, and the third. And actually, that was actually after before. But yeah, I'm messing with the timeline. This was actually, because it's a lot. Like I said, as y'all understand, since this story broke on Saturday, since I've been heavy in this on Sunday, I probably have had no more than 12 hours of sleep.
Yes. And some of the live Q&As, I mean, even less sleep when you were mentioning at that point, back on Monday. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm fine. You jumping around, I completely understand. But I just really want to make sure I get the timeline right for those that are listening in, so they understand where we're going from point A to point B.
So we're talking about Sunday. So we're actually on Sunday as we speak.
Right.
So before I went out Sunday night, I seen Joe. That's when I got the call about what was going on. There's no meeting. Okay, cool. So, and I'm sitting in the lobby because I had like, what's going on? So I had one of my teammates, and we crunched some numbers real quick. We really did, because now all these red flags are popping up, and we did the numbers. And Zach, I don't know if you have a calculator with you or not, but let's see, how do we put it? We came up to the fact that if Joe held 14 camps,
okay,
right,
I got
and you had
phone calculator here, so
right, you had 14 and you had 14 camps, you had over 400 at one point, or 325 players per camp, 14 different campsites at between $60 to $100 a piece, or 125. That's roughly $320,000, $312,000 for the year so far that he's made off of play.
Yes, that is wow.
So right as that was said, I had players in the lobby. I said, Joe, I just got an anonymous tip that said that there's no meeting on Monday. He's like, well, so he pulled out one of his phones. He said he showed me the correspondent. I took a quick snapshot with my eyes real quick just to remember what the time frame was. So he sent over an email April 9th at 8:29 in the morning to the city of Fort Wayne saying, hey, can we have a meeting so we can get all this taken care of? 8:29 in the morning on a Friday. So this is before the whole 3:30 debacle happened Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Their response to him was April 10th at 10:29. So you see where I'm going with these two different things.
Yes.
These are minor or major incidences during this. They said, and I quote, we will set up something and we will have a meeting set up no later than end of business Monday. But there was no meeting set up. It was just spur of the moment on Monday. So I said, okay, Joe, I hear you. So Joe leaves. Joe goes about his business. I step out because I'm making sure like we're all in cahoots on where we're going. As I'm walking to my car, Joe confronts me. I didn't approach him. Joe approached me. Joe said, "Who's your source?" I said, "I can't reveal that, Joe, but I just want to know what the hell's really going on at this point." And so probably me and him are going back and forth, but the way Joe's body language is before that video got out of me saying everything, he admitted to, and that's where the video got picked up at. I said, "Joe, you had Atlanta, Fort Wayne, and Houston." I said, "But you clearly have told me, and you have clearly, and even me asking you have clearly stated that you had Texas signed, sealed, and delivered, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, and I believe that was in the video. I said, "So if you had that in the bag, why bring us all the way the fuck up here? You know, instead of going there." He's like, "It wasn't my decision. It was the board's decision." I said, "Joe, you're a president, bro." I said, "You can be able to veto that and send us down there." And he's like, "Emergency situation." I said, "Joe, I've been on the side of the government that even in an emergency situation, if it's really that important, like you say it is, you can basically, in a sense," I'm paraphrasing because I haven't watched that fully. But I said, "You can hammer this down." I said, "Joe, drop your fucking nuts and get the shit and get the deal done. You got people out here, you got us out here stranded. We wondering what the hell's going on. Like, we're tired, Joe." And all he's doing is sulking back, and he's just like, "Okay, I'm gonna get it done." So we go out. I change clothes when I get back, and that's when I got in contact with Josh, because I had Josh call me because me and him was at that point on Twitter. He called me Sunday night. I'm in the room, another hotel room at the Spring Hill with teammates. They're listening to what Josh is saying, and they're telling our side of the story from there. Like, it's shiesty over here. Like, it's shady. So I go handle what I need to handle. I wake up, Monday morning with uncertainty. I get a call Sunday about, "Hey, the players are organizing, with Wayne 15. Let's go knock this out." So that's when Josh had sent my phone number, I believe between Sunday night and Monday morning, to the UFPA. And so I was a little bit late getting to the scrimmage. They were not even going to call it a practice at this point because we were keeping score. And there's a reason why I'm going to call it a scrimmage.
Okay.
So I was on a conference call with with Kenneth Farrow, Nick Temple, and the director of the United Football Association Monday morning en route to Homestead High School to play in this players organized scrimmage with Wayne 15 being there. They were just trying to get a timeline of everything. One of my other teammates that rode with me talked to them. We got to the field. We had our scrimmage. So at that point, it was sit and wait. Shout out Miss Brianna Brownlee from Wayne 15. Me and her talked, and we exchanged information so that way we could have the interview back at the Spring Hill. I got in contact then with Dylan. Dylan and I had an interview back to back. So I had back-to-back interviews going on. So I got back to the Spring Hill. Brianna asked me questions, and I answered them truthfully to the utmost respect on that. And Dylan was like, me and him talked outside, and Dylan was like, "Can I stick around and come to the meeting with you?" Because right after I got done with the interview with him, we got the word back that the season was canceled Monday. So that was around 12:45. Okay. And so I went upstairs, packed my bags. Everybody got in their cars. We went to the Fairfield Inn off of Jefferson and Fort Wayne. And that's when all the bullshit hit the fan. And
that would lead up right to what is now definitely the most spread around video on this subject at the moment. David, I was gonna say this is the thing, David. I know that it's been reported as a heated dispute broke out. What really pushed into the end result that we saw on Twitter?
Honestly, for all the viewers watching this, definitely go look at my Twitter feed with the last 5 videos I posted, because those are just snippets of the 42 minute and 51 second video that I did record. If you actually watch those piece by piece, that actually talks that you could actually hear Joe as well as Miss Shantae, who has been helping us so far. And that is what has been going on with that situation. And so the entire video that I have recorded on my phone is Joe talking about it. He's basically saying that the city didn't want to help us. He asked for it. It got pushed back. In reality, we know that was a bunch of bullshit. And so part 5, you can clearly hear within the first 30 seconds, he said, why the hell would I be? Oh, I forgot to mention. I know I'm going backwards on this, but I apologize for that. I just thought about this. Sunday night, before Joe and I had that heated discussion where my video came out with him outside, inside, he clearly told me in front of 2 players, he said, and I quote, 2 quotes that drew red flags for me. He said, he's like, if y'all leave tomorrow, I could have 300 more players up here at the end of this week that are lesser talented than you that want to play. Yes, so that was Sunday night. And then another thing is that once the way y'all have been talking to me, I don't like the way you guys have been talking to me. I'm going to run a conditioning test and I'm going to start making cuts. Number 1, Zach, none of the players that were up there, we didn't have any physicals while we were up there.
Right.
So why risk ourselves if we don't have physicals?
I mean, I asked the same thing. I mean, that you're at camp at that point, so you'd expect that would be one of the first priorities out of the way.
We didn't have we didn't have our physicals, let alone we didn't have our COVID test going on.
And another aspect to worry about too.
Right.
That boggles my mind too when that was revealed as well.
And so fast forward again to Monday, it's heated discussions. I even I'm gonna try to cut that part of the video as well, but I believe it's in part 5. I even had Joe look around the room for players that couldn't even get home. And I said, Joe, we had a heated discussion last night. Miss Shantae didn't even know what was going on until we took a break in the meeting to even see what was going on with the video. Because my video spread through group meetings like it was wildfire at this point. And everybody was like, we respect you for that. Like, I became the voice of the players. Mm-hmm. So I said, Joe, how are you going to compensate everybody? Everybody's asking you, you keep beating around the bush. Even if you listen to the way he's talking in those videos that I've posted so far, he's not giving a precise answer on what timeline it is. And on top of that, in the 42-minute video, and I'm working on it, I'm working on trying to upload the entire video. In the snippet of the video, he also does say that he knows that if the city of Fort Wayne has us up there for more than 90 days and 200 people, there's $1.3 million in PPP money the city gets. So he knows how much they get for the city. But also reported by Dylan, he also admits, and it's also in the major part of the video, that he talks about that he has $1.3 million in the PPP loan that he received for the league, and that if he doesn't pay it off by June 1st, and then he has 90 days to June 1st to get it done, he's going to go to jail. My thing behind it is that's a red flag right there, because if you think about it, 90 days previous to June 1st is March 1st. So that means you've been sitting on this money since March 1st.
Right.
And it's not even, and honestly, over the last couple hours, we're finding out more and more. It's not 1.3. There's a piece of paper that I will be receiving in my hands this week, probably towards the end of this week, that shows that it's more than likely the full estimate was 4.2 or 4.5. So the thing about it is, Joe, you're over here saying that it's 1.3 million, but we're also hearing that, and we have legitimate documents. We're working on that. We have a confirmed source, a definite source on that that's going to give it to us, that it's really $4.2 to $4.5 million. That means there's $3.3 million to $3.2 million in dead money laying around. So as a business owner, if you have dead money and it didn't work in one city, and you know that you were able to go to another city, why not take a chunk of that change and take that and compensate us players to get us there? And that's where this timeline was adding up. And so everything got heated. Joe got pressed by a lot of players. We drug him out the room to calm down, because because everybody's like, at this point, since there's no league season, when can we get our money? Joe was him and Han about it. Everybody's like, you can just cash out to us right then and there. He said, I can't do it because it's a business account. Joe, you can do that. You're just afraid of taking a 35% deduction behind what's in the business account. Because a business account, if you do Cash App, I believe it's upwards of excess to 35%. I don't know the numbers, so I'm probably just throwing out ballpark figures. But you get hit with a 35% rate on the money that you lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so next thing you know, the player that's in question that was involved in the video said, Joe, I believed you up until this point, but you lied to all of us. And he already had addressed them earlier. And that was in the major aspect of the video. So, and now actually that's in another video I have, because there's another video I actually have on 4251. So as we come back in from a break, I'm not even sitting at the table at this point. I'm sitting on the countertop. I'm just trying to see everything. I said, shit's about to be real. I was like, it's about to be a Donnybrook. He put his belt down, and then that's how the fight broke out. End of story. He caught Joe, and Joe said he snuck him, but looking at it before the video got posted, Joe didn't get snuck. Joe saw the punch coming. And so the thing about it was Joe got hit twice and was left with a bloody nose. But my other player rep said that when he pulled Joe out, Joe wasn't mad. Joe wasn't frustrated like you do when you get into a fight. Joe was laughing. Why would you laugh about something like about getting your ass whooped unless you know that there's more to the story that you're not telling us?
This is okay. I mean, and now credit that I was saying the clip I'm referencing, like the main one that most people know. I don't see or hear the laughter in there, so this is a slight revelation to me there.
So the laughter and all that was off camera,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like it's just a weird thing. That's almost disturbing, in a way.
It is.
That just seems disturbing a bit.
It is, because you're laughing about getting your ass whooped. And you're talking about, I haven't been in a fight in 20 years. But last time I checked, I haven't rode a bicycle in 6 years, but I still know how to ride a bicycle. So you should know how to defend yourself. Especially if you get hit once the first time, you should already know how to fight.
Out of curiosity, David, do you know the whereabouts of Joe McClendon right now?
To be honest, no, I don't. The last time I talked to Joe was at 5:45 Monday afternoon, when it was me and two other players that sat him down in the Ramada Inn in the lobby trying to figure out, can we get everybody's compensation? After that, I don't know. I don't know where he's at right now. But what I can say about that is that one of my good friends from Colorado, his uncle is the Henry County Sheriff's officer, the head one. I did mention that Joe McClendon does have Henry County tags, and they're actually looking into it right now. So there's eyes on Joe. Joe's hiding. And we're applying so much smoke, so much pressure, so much heat that Joe's got to come out of hiding eventually. And it's hitting him from all angles. I don't even think he knows that people are even watching him on the legal side right now. But even talking to my player rep, how deep does this go? Because once again, this has been going on since 2019.
Yes.
So how deep does it go on the side of investors? Did the investors even know that he was doing all the scams, or do they know and they're trying to cover up things? We won't know until we keep the ball rolling on the next couple of days. So we're gonna keep up the pressure. We're not gonna stop, and I'm not gonna stop until we're compensated. Let alone my players do want to play ball this year. So
right. And that's actually something I was wanting to ask, because the Q&A that I'm referencing, the one that I was able to watch, was on Twitter. Right. And from your phrasing, am I understanding you're trying to still get some sort of play season for these players?
So yes, the reason why I say that is because also in the video, Joe was also, and I think it's in part 5, Joe said that he wanted to go to another place, whether it would be back home in Georgia or full-blown Atlanta or down to Texas. Okay. So the goal is that if we're able to even get a league going this year, at least make it seem like to the world, like because right now we've already come to an agreement. Joe McClendon is no longer part of the NGL, and that's us players.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to use his assets and his resources against him. We want to be able to, once we finally get everybody home, because once again, there's still players that are still stuck up there. And I believe it's close to maybe, at first it was 100, but it might be down. I don't know, but I'm going to give a rough estimate of 35.
Okay.
Between 15 to 35 players that are still stuck up there.
That is, that's just awful to think about, honestly.
Right. And they're down to their last at this point. I had players said they spent up to $1,400 and quit their jobs to come up here and try to pursue their dreams. So we're trying to double back and get this done first and then figure out the next steps. Whether that be we have to drop the NGL completely as a organization whole and take those investors that are truthful and that are borderline, that are truthful and that respect this game, and we go form another league, but make sure we do this the right way, or we get our players in a different league, such as the CIF, the IFL, the Spring League, somewhere where our players can be showcased talent. Not to mention that a lot of these players, including myself, I'm 26, but I still have NAI. I still have 4 years of NAI eligibility left.
Yes, I do remember that from your Twitter Q&A in particular. And yeah, I mean, as this recording, you know, there will be potential workouts, at least in future dates for the IFL, hopefully.
Right. The IFL, I know that Frisco and Northern Arizona have theirs back to the same day, the 17th this weekend. And then the Rattlers have theirs the following next Saturday, as well as that the Spring League is holding their draft tryouts for their new season on the April 27th. But with that being said, I still have players in this league that sign contracts trying to go pro instead of going the college route. Mm-hmm. So some have 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. The thing about it is that as this continues to unravel, are my players, including myself, that I decided to go back, are we even able to retain that college eligibility even without receiving a dime? Or are we screwed over on a Jeremy Bloom situation where we lose all college eligibility because we signed a pro deal?
Right.
And it sucks to say that, but the reason why I'm grinding so hard right now, the reason why I'm at the forefront with this, and the reason, and a lot of my players are like, bro, I appreciate you. The job's not done. I want us to be compensated. I don't want this. And I'm going to use this name. And the reason why I'm going to use this name is because this man just passed away today, and I really don't care. I don't want Joe McClendon to be the black version of Bernie Madoff.
I see.
And I feel like that's what the second coming of this is. But at the same time, we're on Joe's ass. There's so much fire getting thrown. There's so much fuel getting added to the fire day in and day out. There's damn near, as you can see on your Twitter feed, there's damn near a new story either every hour, every other hour, every morning. And I'm calling, and honestly, as you've seen on my Twitter feed, I'm calling out Joe left and right. Because I'm how do I put it? I dropped my fucking nuts, unlike Joe has. And I'm gonna use that term. I really dropped my fucking nuts, and I've stood my ground on this. I'm willing, and I said it on my Q&A. I think you heard that on my Twitter feed. Mm-hmm. Also mentioned it on my tweets. I'm willing to be blackballed, thrown through the mud by Joe McClendon himself, as long as my players are able to go play somewhere else, or we're able to have a league, so that way we can thrive. This is emotional, man. Like, I've been holding a lot in, like, these last couple of days. I've had to swallow it, but being exhausted, man, like, it's starting to come, because it's sad, man. Like, this has been going on for 3 years. You got season ticket holders in St. Louis that are out $700 a pop. So
same for Fort Wayne. That's another one that was reported with some of these too. You know, some of people have not been reimbursed. And honestly, it's just amazing to think this league's gone on so long like this. I mean, I've even talked. I have a personal friend of mine that is a commenter or regular on the show, Aaron Ellis, who actually almost went into the league too. Same thing. Ran into issues with Joe himself. And, you know, he brought up some points. I almost wonder, and I'm curious if you've gotten any hint of this yet, or if this will come out. Are these board members, do they exist? Because I understand reference.
And about it is me and my other player rep as well as Miss Shantae, who's the general manager for the Twisters, we're actually trying to set up meetings with Joe. I even tried to call Joe twice today, and he hasn't returned any of my calls. He did tell Miss Brianna Brownlee that he was going to submit documentation. And so I'm on Joe's ass. Joe, I need to know where the documents are because we want to see all the financial records at this point. I've even got my mom involved on this, as crazy as this seems.
Oh, wow.
my mom does a lot of the financial forensic stuff. So as we get more of our concrete evidence, we will be taking this to the Federal Trade Commission as well as SunTrust Bank itself and letting them know what's going on with this. I'm letting my mom handle that because obviously I'm her only son. She sees that I care about my players, which I do. Mm-hmm. And it's disappointing in the aspect that a black man, and I'm gonna use that because of the times. A black man has lied to a majority black league and led us astray and try to scam us. And the reason why I say try to scam us is because if he did, we'd be silent. But we will not be silent, and I will not be silent about this aspect. I will work day and night. I don't care, even when we return to work tomorrow. I'm not going to stop until Joe McClendon is either in jail and all our money is compensated for, and my players are satisfied with the demands that we have, which I don't care. I don't care at this point because the fact of the matter is, Joe, if Joe was truthful about his shit, all these allegations, he would have came out. He would have been talking to me.
Right.
It's right. How I had a female in Fort Wayne who I stay in constant communication with. I gave her his number and he responded to her via text. So I'm waiting for that conversation to even go on via phone conversation and see what's going on. Because it's not adding up. It's not right. But it's the fact of the matter is, Joe, you're ducking and dodging the main player rep that you're scared of. And like I told Miss Angie Trinidad from Wayne 15, and like I've been saying, I said one thing for certain and two things for sure. Joe McClendon is scared of two things right now: federal penitentiary and me.
Man,
I have the biggest target on my front and back, and I know, and I'm willing to bite that bullet for my players. I'm willing to confront Joe himself, but obviously I've been able to talk to Joe. Joe hasn't reached out to me. I called Joe twice today. It rang and rang and rang. His phone's on, but obviously it wound up being a voicemail. So, Joe, come out and play. I just want to talk. But, I just want to talk. We want answers. I want to see financial documents. I want to see all the records. And I'm not going to stop until we see that or until we have our day in court where you're in an orange jumpsuit or you're writing out a check for every player in it. Because this has to stop. It has to.
I would say the same thing. And trust me, I would say the same thing. I don't even have to add on beyond that just because I've been seeing this play out. Like I said, I've talked with people from Evansville when this was a mess down there. I've been hearing from players about this issue,
and
friends with guns that have been dealing with it. So
I'm going to cut you off, but I didn't even know about the Evansville situation until Sunday, talking to the
really?
general. Yeah, I didn't even know about the Evansville incident till it was brought to my light on Sunday when I was talking to the manager at Spring Hill. And then even talking to the UFA, Joe keeps talking about these sponsors. They've talked to the sponsors. They talked to the jersey supplier. They said the jerseys were ready, but Joe never paid. So all our sponsors that quote unquote that Joe has, all them sponsors are gone, my guy. They don't associate with Joe. They don't want no parts in that.
So are you telling me that there are National Gridiron League jerseys sitting somewhere that just need a paycheck and they're not here because of that?
Yes, there are National Gridiron jersey, apparel, jerseys, helmets, anything you can think of that would be for a football season, let alone an arena league, that are sitting somewhere that have probably ended up being thrown in the trash at this point because payment wasn't made. Not even that, Zach, for your audience, for anybody that's going to watch this, make this make sense. Why would we go to Fort Wayne of all places? And like I said, I have mad love for Fort Wayne. Why would you take an arena game outdoors? Why would you turn a 100-yard field to 60 yards? Let alone, why would you even say that the city of Fort Wayne knew about it when I'm still in contact with 2 or 3 people up there, and they said we would have known about it had everything been finalized months in advance and helped roll out the red carpet. You can't arena league outdoors. You can't play arena football rules outdoors. That shows a sloppy product on the field.
Yeah, and that was one of my first red flags for me, was actually when they moved outdoors and said they were going to do an outdoor game after arena, because I'm an avid arena guy. That's how I got into this with podcasting. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I've definitely was raising an eyebrow when I was hearing that they switched formats. But this was also, again, after I got clear explanations on what was happening in Evansville at the time. Yeah, plenty of red flags. It's unfortunate that players like yourself have also not, I've also now learning some more about them, I'm afraid. Like I said, the Evansville situation alone was one for me.
Right.
Was very much covered. And I've talked with a few of those reporters that were on that scenario. Not pretty is all I can tell you.
And when I add to that, I believe Joe was also the president of that team.
I think my understanding is that Joe has a lot of positions, is what I'm learning.
Exactly.
And that's why I asked the question about the board and other executives, because there's a lot of titles he has for this league.
Right. And so I even brought that up with Joe. I said, if I'm a player rep, me and my other player rep, Miss Shantae, we need to all have a Zoom meeting with you and the board. I need to see the board myself. I need to see the investors myself.
Yes.
I need to face and see and hear their voice reflection on what's going on. Because this is bullshit. And this has been going on for long. And not even that. Indeed.com needs to also understand Joe's using them to get players.
Really?
Yes, I have it in my email from long ago, and I try to go back and double down on it today. Then it's not even up there anymore. But Joe was using that as a job posting. Was using Indeed as a job posting.
All right then. Geez, and I thought it was just a website you have to sign up through, but
no,
Indeed was also a path. That's a new revelation for myself, and probably for some others out here too, as well. I don't mean to sidestep away from Joe, but I have also been curious about a new element that was brought up today, kind of on the agency side of this.
Right.
I have been brought up, there's a few accounts out there that brought up a gentleman by the name of Buddy Walters from MFE as a player's agency. Are you able to shed a bit of light on that, or a direction on that?
As far as me, I haven't even heard of that. I saw it today on Twitter, and that was my first win to that. But if I can paint a proverbial picture, shall we say, on this?
Sure.
If what's his name? Buddy Walter?
Buddy Walters is what I've been given as a name.
So Buddy Walter, Joe McClendon, but we don't even know if Joe McClendon is even his real name, because I even researched his phone number on Ben Verified, and I typed in belongs to a Christopher Horton.
All righty then.
So
that's another twist there.
It's like, Joe, what's really going on? Like, your number's ringing, but when I go check it on Ben Verified, it's showing up as somebody else's number. And then even looking up him on Ben Verified, there's one person that probably is him, age 46, but it says that he's located in Florida, not even in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
So my thing behind it is like, I'm going to hop back to the whole, how deep does this even go? Could it be that Buddy Walter is the MFE and he's on the board of investors and he's the main investor that's funneling all this to Joe and he's getting money out of it? Possibly. I'm not trying to accuse Mr. Walter. I've never met that man. Never seen that man. But it's funny how these developments coming up with the MFE, sending everybody to NGL, and this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
could this story blow up the MFE as well? Possibly. But Zach, like like I know, like I damn sure personally know, it's gonna be more and more by the day. It might turn down a little bit, but it's gonna be more and more by the day. So
yes, and there will be plenty more. I feel like I'm going to have a follow-up with you on this for sure.
most definitely.
Because I mean, it just, the spiral seems to continue. And honestly, if this is being a player-led movement to play a season, I hope you play. I really do, and that you were able to find a way. You know,
it is. The thing about it is that us players after Monday we came to an agreement. We don't want any. And I told them how I felt with my team. Like if everything did go right, Joe McClendon was not going to talk to us during the season. He was gonna have to actually have somebody physically from the NGL be the messenger between myself for my team and him. I didn't want to talk to him or anything. So us players, we want to play. We don't want any parts with Joe McClendon no more. We're tired of this because it's gotten to this point. And it's sad, it's hurt, it's heartbreaking. I'm frustrated. At the same time, I know Joe's gonna come out here and try to say that he can't pay us. The thing about it is that Monday it was a controlled scrimmage. Therefore, that we were keeping score. We had video evidence of that out there. Mm-hmm. We also have a paper trail about that out there. That will bring that to light too once we get the PPP information. And not even that, Joe. It's not just players saying that's the PPP information that he got. It's coaches that say that know the specific number, which I think was 4.2 that was reported. So, end of the day, the reason why I think Joe's quiet right now is he's trying to cover his ass. Okay. But how can you cover your ass if everything that we're throwing out here is true, and everything that you're telling the news is shaky? Mm-hmm. It doesn't add up. It doesn't. And not even that. You can't even not say that that you didn't even tell us there was 1.3 out there, because there was a reporter that you didn't even know there was a flaw on the wall that was recording this the whole time. So Joe just keeps digging himself a deeper hole, and that's cool. I'm cool with burying him. I want to bury. And I've told my other player up, and I've told my players, I want to bury this man alive myself, because I'm making it my job and my passion to get everybody compensated, not just me. I'd rather get the last check as long as all my players can go play. End of the day, me being the player up, now me being the face of this movement, my players deserve better. The brotherhood deserves better. We will not be silenced, and I will not be silenced. And it's honestly, fuck Joe McClendon. And I can honestly say that. And I'm probably going to be tweeting about that. You'll probably see about 15 more tweets from me tonight, because I'm still going to get more information more than likely right after we get off of this. And it's going to be more information back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Hell, my friends are even looking at my Twitter feed like, what the hell is going on?
Right, like I imagine.
it's that bad. I'm like, you guys don't even know the half of it. Like I understand, like the way it was seeming for us was Joe was living in the Ramada Inn. Now we know Ramadas are okay hotels. Why would you make us go to the Grand Hyatt downtown, the Grand Marriott downtown? You're giving us plush living. That doesn't seem right. But when you're pulling up in your car, you're in a $50 hat, a $500 shirt, $500 pair of jeans, and $200 pair of shoes. Right. And then you're in probably $500 dress pants, another $250 on your shoes, a watch that's probably $1,000 to maybe $2,000 on a watch, even though it doesn't have any diamonds on it. Like, it's not adding up. It's not.
Yeah, a lot of this is definitely not adding up, David. That is what I keep seeing, and it wasn't 2 years ago, and it seems like it just consistently continues to not add up every way you look at it. David, I want to ask here, where I know the UFPA has been a big help. It sounds like as of late. I know you've talked with Kenneth and the others that are associated with them.
Right.
I understand that they help with the scrimmage at least, or trying to organize the pieces for that. What is their position with you guys moving forward, or what is their role right now with you?
Actually, Zach, you were actually the fourth interview I've actually had today.
Okay.
That's crazy. So
that is crazy to think about. Busy day for you. And I knew it was busy already, but Jesus, that is okay. Wow.
Right. Like, yeah. So like within like the last couple of days, I mean, if you include the fact of me talking to Josh as well, you're probably like the fifth interview today.
Which by the way, shout out to Josh Davis. Really, yeah, I appreciate him a ton for him. And I've been collaborating on this for a bit, and I can't say enough about the man, honestly. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to put that in there.
No. Right. Definitely shout out to Josh Davis. Shout out to Kenneth Farrow. Shout out, I don't even know Daniel's last name, the executive director of the UFPA, but definitely shout out to him. Shout out to Davion Young. That's who I actually talked to today. He sent me a DM today, and we talked over the phone. He recorded the conversation. Just wanted to know what was going on. Kenneth's stance on it was he's proud of me. He's proud. Everybody's proud of me, but I told everybody, don't be proud of me just yet. The job's not done.
Right.
The UFPA has actually worked. They actually had a conference call, I think, earlier today, probably a few hours ago. I'm going to touch base with Kenneth tomorrow, and we're going to try to figure out what the next steps are. But I believe the next steps are trying to get this money and get lawyers on this to help us out.
All right. Well, that's a good step there. I'm glad that things are moving at least in the right direction. One thing that'll help a bunch, and we've shared this around a bit, I'll make sure we keep sharing this. There is a GoFundMe out there to help the players that need that at least that money to get back home or in a better position.
Right. Now, Zach, that GoFundMe will more than likely be taken down. There's going to be a new GoFundMe getting set up as well.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is it's not a bad thing, but with that GoFundMe, it's taking 2 to 5 days, and we don't have 2 to 5 days. We got players damn near down to their last single dollars, sporadically across the city, not eating, sacrificing on eating, probably sleeping in cars at this point because they can't pay the $45 or whatever the hotel prices are. So we're changing the narrative, and we're putting another GoFundMe out there. When I get that, I will definitely retweet that out. And we're trying to get the money as quickly as possible to our players. Oh, and speaking of money, Joe did mention that he was supposed to drop off some money to Miss Shantae. She has not received any of that money from Joe's side, from the business account. So Miss Shantae has decided upon herself, since Joe's playing, she's gonna bite even more of a bullet and help out on herself. So
wow,
it's a lot of shit. Like it's a lot of a bunch of bullshit. Joe's in hiding. I'm trying to get Joe to come out. And at this point, as we keep dropping bombshell on top of bombshell, I'm gonna get back to work tomorrow. The goal is that Joe can't hide anymore. You can't keep going. Like, I understand with the whole COVID situation, that's a fucked up thing, you know, that you left the Evansville team up there, and everybody looking from the outside looking in was like, well, it was COVID. But fuck that. Like, it's going on 3 years too long. Players have tried to speak up on it, and now everybody has a voice.
Yeah.
And I'm that voice. I'm the voice that wants to reach to the masses. I'm talking. You see my Twitter.
Yes, I definitely do see everything you put there. No doubt about that.
Right. So since like I was at first, it was pro-life. Now it's being an advocate for my players, and the job's not done. So I'm gonna keep working on this, and even past the point of this, because it's a fucked up scenario, and I don't want there to be another jump. I want to be able to put this out there to the point that there's never going to be another Joe McClendon with this. I don't want that to ever happen. I don't want this to be 20 years down the road, and you got, you know, eventually when I have kids, hopefully here soon, or any kids I know that are growing up. I don't want them to be in their teens thinking it's okay to like, hey, I'm gonna try because my family's going through this. I'm gonna go play ball and then they get screwed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to cut the head off the snake right now. So I'm gonna keep advocating. I'm gonna keep grinding for my players. I'm gonna keep grinding for this brotherhood until Joe McClendon is brought to justice, until Joe McClendon sees me, Joe McClendon stops being in hiding. Joe McClendon pays all that money back. Joe, I need Joe's financial records, because the thing about it is we have concrete evidence on the player side. We will get that probably in the next 48 to 72 hours.
Okay.
Once that bombshell drops, it's over for Joe. Once I upload the full entire video, it's over for Joe. Obviously, the 5 parts I put up there, it's already over for Joe, because everybody's looking at it now as Joe did his interview, but why haven't you talked to your players recently? You haven't talked to us since Monday, and we're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I've been posting nothing but the truth and nothing but the truth. So the 5-part videos, those are getting out there to everybody. Dylan's retweeted parts, I believe, 1 and 5. And
yes.
and the thing about
the case, as what I'm looking at.
Right. And in part 5, Joe even says it. Why the fuck? I don't even want to be here. So why the fuck would I bring y'all up here? So if that's the case, Joe, why would you even, regardless of the board even said take the 4 win? And we don't, like I said, I still don't even know if there even is a board.
That's a big question we all have still too, and that's been brought up not by myself, but also by Dylan Sin as well. And we're trying to figure that out as well. And so many questions are still left, is what
because
I keep seeing.
The I said is as a player, and now as a player rep in the face of the players. You go on the NGL website right now. A week ago, you were able to contact them and figure out where to go. I went on there today to try to figure out how I could contact the offices. There's nothing on the website right now.
Wow.
There's no contact or anything like that. So they're going into whoever they are, whether it's Joe, his investors, his baby moms, his family, fuck them. And I mean that with the absolute disrespect. If they're in on this, fuck you guys. Because how dare you take food out of our pockets as players, making us give up our livelihoods because we want to chase this dream and we want to be able to go make something out of it, regardless if we went to the NFL or not. We could have gone to the IFL based off of this, the Champions Indoor League, CFL, XFL. We could even gone overseas with our film.
Yeah.
It just give up our families, our jobs, our livelihoods to bring us up there for 5 to 6 days for some bullshit. For something that you have been truthful about from the start, said there was no league and I'm scamming you guys.
Yeah, all the information you're giving me, David, I admire the effort you're putting in. It's been needing to be brought to light. I hate to see that this was the circumstances that were being put in, that people are being put in now, to where we are at least starting to put some sort of light and press on this to get this resolved and get something that stops what I consider the madness, is what I'm going to call it. David, thank you for joining us. I will say we will have a follow-up on this discussion, because I know by the time this releases, which, if for those of you listening on Friday when it releases, this might be outdated by then. So we'll definitely
it might be outdated by the night. Like,
I mean, at the very least, everyone gets a tell-all, but there's a lot more that's coming out. Just the day I'm talking with you right now was already kind of whirlwind for me, going, oh my gosh, all this information. So I'll be following this. I will definitely be keeping in contact with you. And where can people keep up with you just to get updates? Because you're very much on top of this with updates, or at least trying to push what is being found right now by other sources that are digging.
Right. I don't have Facebook anymore because I kind of just didn't want to be on that anymore. Kind of get that up.
Sure.
Definitely, if people do want me to keep them up to date on Twitter, it is Draco_DA GOAT. That's probably where we're going to find a lot more of the information. My Instagram is locked, so I obviously have to accept the followers, but it is Draco_DA_ruler. And those are the main platforms I'm using. You can find me on Snapchat at D_Drizzy. That's D_DRIZZY007 on there and add me. But mainly people just really just have to follow my Twitter feed. And I'm gonna keep talking shit to Joe, and I'm gonna keep producing information until this goes, because there's finally a voice to this. There's a voice, there's a face. I will not stop. I don't care if I'm in the club this weekend. I'm still gonna keep posting this, because this isn't right. It's never has been, it never will be. It's been rumblings here and there. Players have been trying to speak out, and now there's a strong enough voice behind it. To hop on the interview I had with Miss Angie today, she even asked me about the whole leadership situation. How does it feel to be a leader about this? And I had to sit back and really sit like, damn, like, like,
Right. I mean, you've been the face of this right now, at least since Saturday or Sunday, you know?
right. And I didn't mean to bring her into that and bring up that question, but it's like sitting back, I'm just like, damn, like I haven't really sat down myself personally, taking time for myself to say, this is monumental. And it's the fact that I'm able to bring light to this. And it's like, when she asked me how I feel about being a leader, I don't consider myself a leader on this. I don't consider myself a pioneer. I just consider myself, I'm doing something that's the right thing to do, that deserves to be done on this. And when, I mean, like I said, my phone's been, I check in with my players every other day, make sure they're good. I'm sending out certain things to certain players. People are telling me they appreciate me for this. Don't appreciate, one thing I could say from this, for anybody that's listening, anybody that watches my Twitter feed, don't appreciate me for this, because it's not about me at this point. It was never about me. I never wanted to be the face of this, you know, but obviously my voice is powerful, you know. So I took on that role. I kind of like to be behind the scenes, so to speak, but when it's something that's important to me, something that I love to do, which is play football and try to pursue a dream, I'm gonna speak up about it, and I'm not gonna stop until it's over with. So, if I have to get quote unquote Colin Kaepernick behind this, blackballed, I don't care. I don't care if behind this Joe goes to tell anybody that wants to listen to him that I'm a bad person and never signed me to any professional league at all. That's not the truth, because I got 200 guys, 215 guys in this league, this brotherhood, that can tell you otherwise. They can tell you that I'm making the sacrifice for this. And when it's a brotherhood, I'm willing to lay down myself as a sacrifice, take the bullet, have the target on my front and my back, and make sure everybody's compensated. So if that means being a leader, then so be it. If that means I'm running off fumes this week, so be it. I just need this to be brought to a national attention, and for people to really understand, like, this is gonna stop. It's not gonna keep going after this. I'm cutting the head off the snake. This will stop. Joe McClendon will be no more. Joe McClendon is scared of me. I'm not scared of Joe. He can come see me. He can come see me at 501 North Ramsey Street, Stillwater, Oklahoma, 74074, apartment 22423, bedroom D. I'm here. I travel. If he doesn't want to come see me in Stillwater, he can come see me in Colorado Springs, or I'll come to him. I'm everywhere, Joe. You might not think that, but I'm everywhere, and I understand I'm doing this for my players. So I hope he's sleeping with one eye open, and I wonder how his kids are feeling about this, because karma is going to come back and bite him in the ass in so many different ways. He just doesn't realize that.
Well, all I can tell you, David, is the football community that we have is at least, we are hoping for the best case scenario for
Right.
this. That is all we can say. And from here on, you know, I mean, I know you don't want to be the voice of the face, but, you know, we're hoping that the best happens for you and the players you are helping represent, and that
Right.
you guys get the best case scenario, even playing a season, whether it is under that NGL banner or if it is under something else.
To be honest, talking to my other player rep, I feel like the best step is to, once we get everything settled and get everything finally calmed down and everything's out there, in the next steps, we will not associate ourselves with the NGL no more. We will be that, but it will be under a different name, because so many bridges Joe has burned. We have to go back to those bridges and mend those fences.
I see.
And I believe this is the right way to start on it. Instead of burning bridges with the city, we are now mending those fences one day at a time, one news article at a time, one bombshell at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And just for me, I'm just trying to articulate to the masses, like, it's not our fault. It's Joe McClendon's fault. The finger doesn't need to be pointed at any of my players or myself. It needs to be pointed at him. Joe McClendon will be dealt with, and hopefully in a swift amount of time. Lord knows I'm exhausted, but you know, when you finally, when everybody looks at you as the point man, the go-getter, I don't sleep. I haven't had 8 hours of sleep in, I don't know, maybe a week and a half. I'm on average probably 2 to 4 hours of sleep. I have to keep, it's to the point now I probably have to keep TV shows on just to sleep, because I'm always checking my phone, because I just never know when I'm gonna get something else. I never know when I feel like waking up in the middle of the night and tweeting everything, because this is not gonna stop until it's done. And even when it's done, when I say I'm trying to bury Joe, when a person passes away, you're only burying them 6 feet deep. I'm trying to bury Joe 12 to 24 feet deep. I don't want him to be heard from again in any type of way when it comes to being the president of any sort of professional league or anything like this. Because as you guys can see in the football community, Joe McClendon is a rat, a bitch, a snake, a scammer, a misogynistic, a disrespectful person. And he tries to use his mouth. He tries to be slick with it. He uses Southern charm on us. Well, I'm here to say that, Joe, the buck stops here with me and my players. You're not going nowhere no more. But one thing about it, like I've been saying, Joe, just come out and play. You know, stop hiding. Come see me. I'm begging you to come see me. And even if that means we can get into a boxing match with it and give us our money, because at this point, we just want our money so we can get on. We don't want nothing to do with you. But I definitely pray that Joe McClendon and I do have a phone conversation so I can record that. I want to see him face to face at this point, and not the fact that I want to put hands on him. But Joe, I just want you to understand how much of a physical, mental, and emotional strain this has been, not only on myself but on players. Like leaving Monday night, I broke down in the car, or at least tried not to, over the phone with my mom. I'm 25, almost 26. I shouldn't have to break down to my mom and ask her, and have her ask me, am I going to be able to make it back to my apartment and get gas money on this? And that's what certain players had to do. Certain players that have been on their own for years and years and years have to go to family members asking, can I get help with this? Because this man lied us. This man led us astray. And I'm trying to right the ship with my players. And my players have given me full go. But those are also my brothers. And one thing about it is I'm making sure that they're good as well as me as well. Mm-hmm. So as this continues to roll, I just pray that everybody that's kind of late into this, they keep retweeting, we keep the fire hot. Because the longer we keep this hot, once the bombshells drop, it'll happen. I'm not gonna put a date on it, but it will happen very soon when we get that paperwork. And the paperwork will prove that we were not lying, let alone why would something get published if Joe's gonna say that wasn't the case, but yet there was multiple people in that room, as well as a writer that heard him say 1.3 that he had.
All right. David, thank you very much for everything, for the conversation, for giving us as much details as you can. Indeed. We ourselves at Gridiron Gallery, XFL Newsroom, we are going to share the new updated GoFundMe when that comes out. And we will keep posting on the story. I will look to have a follow-up with you when more details come on, or as soon as we're able to do that. So David, thank you very much. I wish you hopefully a good night's sleep at some point in your near future is all I'm going to tell you. And
I don't know when that's going to happen.
A good fight, you know?
Yeah, the fight is not over. The job is not done. It'll never be done at this point because who knows what's next after this. Maybe it's another league, that I go to and the same situation's happening. But right now, my main goal is to make sure my players are compensated as well as myself. And we disband from Joe McClendon. And that Joe McClendon is never heard from as a president of any sports organization ever again.
Thank you guys for tuning in for this episode and wanting to get informed about the misdeeds that the National Gridiron League has been doing to these players, not only this year, but for at least a few other years in advance. If you're wanting to keep up with the situation, definitely stay here on this channel. We are going to have a follow-up with David and possibly another player rep at some point. And if you want to help support some of the players that last I am understanding as of this post-recording of the interview are still trapped in Fort Wayne, there is a GoFundMe. I will be putting that in the description. Please be sure to check that out. And if you have anything, any little bit helps, especially for those that are definitely being done wrong in terms of this. Until next time, guys, thank you as always for tuning in. I highly appreciate it, and stay tuned to the next one. The Gridiron Gallery Podcast. New episodes every Friday on your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and premiering first, as always, at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, only on unhingedsn.com.